Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite podcast, SHW. This is Our Wrestling. B-Double Brandon Benefield, GB Gerard Bonner, the lovely Diana Michelle. V3 is back at you. And yeah, we're excited. We got a big guest coming up here in just a few minutes. But before we get there, everybody good? How's your week going so far?
Man, if this rain don't stop, oh my God. I mean,
kidding.
all day, every day, all week long, I'm done. I'm over it.
Yep.
I need some pool time, y'all. It's June.
And I mean, you've been putting in all that work. I mean, hey, you know, I'm just saying.
I'm so white.
That's one problem I don't have.
So,
you know.
I'm so envious.
I can relate, Diana, but yeah, not everybody. Not everybody can relate.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to welcome everybody to Destination TV because apparently the people are lining up to be a part of our show, to which I am grateful. So to all of you out there in podcast land, as they used to call it, radio land, whatever the zip code there was, it's great to have you guys. And thank you guys for watching this podcast, for supporting the podcast, whether you're watching us during our premiere or if you go back and watch a little bit later on demand. We appreciate it because without you, who knows, right? So it's great.
There'll be a whole lot going on without you knowing about it because it's still going to be a whole lot going on
in the forest. And there's
it
nobody
still cracks.
there to hear. It does crack, but nobody can prove it. So thank you guys, wrestlers and fans alike. Thank you so much for supporting. And you just never know who's going to pop on the show, just like this week.
Yeah. On that note, sorry, that crack thing made me go a different way, and I don't even want to get into that.
I know where you went. Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't even want to bring that up on the show. Anyways, just say no, folks.
It kills.
But hey, yes, you talked about people reaching out to be on the show and stuff like that. Well, we did have a handful of match announcements this week for SHW 52. One of those match announcements was one that we were already aware of. It's the finals of the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship Tournament, and it will be Chip Day and the Kenway going one-on-one July 7th at SHW 52. We're going to discuss that and all the other matches in the coming week. Is it just one more week before the show? I think so.
Yeah, we got one more week.
So next week we'll do kind of a preview show of the whole card once it gets announced. But one of those people from that match, hint, the Kenway, I just gave it away. There's no hint there. Will possibly be joining us next week to kind of talk about that match. We heard from Chip Day on our last live pre-show at SHW 51, and we heard how he felt about the Kenway. Now I think maybe we may hear what the Kenway, how he feels about Chip Day. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, that'll be next week. But before we get there, we've got a huge guest tonight, a man that had his big farewell at SHW 51. If you were there, you saw it in the ring. Probably not a dry eye in the house there as it was happening. But yeah, and if you didn't see it live, then definitely check it out on IWTV. Of course, I'm talking about AC Mack, the Mack of All Trades, the loudest mouth in the South. We had a chance to talk to him. Not only did he say farewell to SHW, but he was able to come by our podcast one more time before he moves on to his other ventures. But
pull up a chair, guys. It's about to get real.
Here we go. Yeah, here's our conversation with the one and only AC Mack. Check it out. Well, like we said, our very special guest, the Mack of All Trades, the loudest mouth in the South, the one and only AC Mack is joining us here on the podcast one more time. And my man, you're on the road, clearly. Everything good? How you doing?
Everything's good. I'm almost to my destination. I'm still feeling the love even a week later. So I'm on cloud nine. It's not a sad moment. It's happy. You know, I'm not going anywhere, but yeah, so we're feeling good.
You're right. It wasn't, it was a bittersweet moment is the way I like to put it, because it was sad that we know you're not going to be at the shows anymore, at least not in the ring. but but happy that you're kind of on your own terms, doing your own thing, and going out on top like that. And
Yes.
well, I shouldn't say until you didn't win the match, but on top in our hearts. And so it was a very special moment. We say it every month. The shows are about moments, and that one I thought was one of the most special moments we've had in quite a while at SHW.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Anybody else jump in here
while he's driving?
Before we all get emotional here, anybody else jump in with any questions?
I was trying to, but then I felt it creeping. I'm like, I'm gonna sit it out for a second.
No, I'm
you
sorry.
Know what? I'm a crier. I'm a crier.
Same though.
So
I get it.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's go back to the start of your career, because usually when we start something, we have an end game in mind, and we have an idea of how things might work and how they might not work. Going back to the start of your career, did you see these mega moments that have happened for you? Did you see that happening all the way back when your career began?
No, not at all. In fact, when I started, it was so painful and I was not having fun, to the point where I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. Wow. I have made a mistake. At the time, it was $1,000 to join the WWA 4. Okay. And through my taxes, through donations from family and friends, I didn't have to come out of pocket. Everybody knew what my dream was. Everybody knew what the deal was. So people donated, and I was able to get that $4,000 and give it to Fox and them, well, at the time, Hughes, to start training. And I remember those first 2 days, I felt so bad because I thought that I wasted their money. I thought that there's no way in hell this is for me. I'm a theater kid, I'm not used to contact sports. I'm not used to getting down and dirty and getting hit and slammed. And I wasn't what I look like now. I was a beanpole then.
Wow.
So it was, oh man, I had not in my wildest dreams that I think I would ever be a world champion or rank this high on a PWI or know so many wrestlers who are big names and are signed and who are doing great things. I didn't know that I was going to be able to make any type of stamp whatsoever in the world of professional wrestling. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy also because if we think back to 2016, which I believe was the year you started, a lot of the landscape of wrestling was different then than it is now. For instance, SHW didn't even exist.
Right.
Then, you know what I mean? And so all of these outlets. So I'm curious for you, what was the thing that kind of kept you going? Because we've talked before about the renaissance that we ultimately ended up seeing and things like that, things being so different in 2016. What kind of kept you going to get to the 2018s, the 2020s, and obviously the 2022s?
Well, starting with training, I just said I'll give it 3 more months and I'll see what happens. And within that 3 months, I started to catch on faster than I thought. It still hurt.
Yeah.
But I was understanding the structure. I was understanding the rhythm and how to move and how to speak and how to affect people. Yeah. And I got addicted to affecting people. And it helped having such a great partner in Austin Theory. We ran everything together. Training, we would travel together. We had matches together. He really spoke up for me to get my name out there. And I gotta say, I always mention him in every podcast I do, it feels like, but he really had a hand in like helping me stay, helping me like get it, and helping me get out there. So along with him, and we called ourselves the Big Four after the 4 main pay-per-views at the time.
Yeah.
So it's me, Theory, Alan Angels, and this guy named Tommy Maserati, who was actually in there when I lost the match, him and Danny. Yeah. So those 3, honestly, those are some of my best friends. We kept it going. They said you can either make money or you can make friends in this business, and I guess I chose friends.
That's the easiest, right?
I'll throw this one out there too, because as I'm thinking about the way, you know, those names that you mentioned, Alan Angels, of course, Austin Theory, you know, we think about the places and spaces they are right now, and you know how places like AEW did not exist in 2016, which is it's I mean, for fans who are watching, it's nuts to think that we're living in a world where there was no, you know, at a time there was no SHW, no AEW, you know, some of these options for people to be able to hop into. So for you, what does it feel like, you know, as you're looking at the world change? And not just that, but I think I can go here now, you know, the idea of even being a Black wrestler and representing the LGBTQ community, right? Those things were not nearly as prevalent in 2016 as they are today. As you started to see things, well, let me ask this. Where was the moment for you that you started to see things change in terms of representation and opportunity?
Right before the pandemic hit. It was so crazy because not only was 2019 a great year for me, a great outbreak year for me, but I feel like it was a great year for like minorities across the board, and not just with Black wrestlers, but just minorities as far as LGBT goes too. I looked up and we had a BW 500.
Right.
I was like, I didn't even know we had 500 Black wrestlers. And then a year later, thanks to Effie and GCW coming along, we were able to have all gay shows and now all gay festivals. And it's so crazy because in 2016, you touched on it, but like, it's really hard to get the point across that it was a completely different landscape then. I won't name any names, but somebody told me, hey, you might want to go back in the closet if you're going to be a wrestler. You can't, you can't do that here. Also won't say any names, but you know, you're a Black wrestler, it's going to be a lot harder for you, and your skin is darker. It's going to be hard to market you as a wrestler. Like I said, I won't name any names, but exactly, colorism. And it's just crazy how far we've come and how far the industry, social media, it's like a big push, you know? We had one lane, and the one lane was doing great. But now we have so many more lanes, and I think it's even better. So you mentioned AEW not being around. I think it's great. Honestly, the worker in me, I want 2-3 more AEWs to pop up. I want as many shows on TV as possible. That way it won't be such a struggle for a wrestler. It won't be like a starving artist or the jokes about there's no money in it. We don't have to worry about that because more lanes are being created. And if you ask me, I don't see any issue at all with more lanes being created. The more the merrier. So, you know, if we all can eat, that works for me.
I love it. I love it.
Ever since AEW came along, I've been saying the same thing. Like it's a win for the fans. It's a win for the workers. There's more places to work. You know,
literally
there's more options for the fans to watch. I mean, why not? You know. So
it gives us more autonomy. I'm here for it. I want so many more to pop up. I'm here.
Now, you mentioned some of the names that you came up with back when you started in 2016. Now, so that's been 7 years, right? Am I doing math right? Yeah. So 7 years that you've been in this business, and you've been all over the place, especially after winning the IWTV World Championship. You were defending that thing all over the place. I know this is going to be a tough one for you, or maybe it's not. Maybe you have one right off the top of your head, but do you have any specific matches that stand out, any specific opponents that you're just like, that was my favorite of all time, or anything like that?
I don't have just one. I'm sorry.
I knew you wouldn't.
One against Austin Theory at Action, of course. Alan Angels at Southern Honor. Not the one where I won the belt, though. I think it was like one or two before that where
because that was the rematch.
Disqualification. Yeah, that was the rematch.
The Canton Street fight was the rematch when you actually won the title, and then before that you had a match with him.
Right, and anybody that knows me knows I hate anything with weapons, so that definitely wasn't my favorite. Oh man, I had the speedball match. I had a match with Kurt Stallion where he messed me up. Oh, in a good way. So many. Any time I can get in there with Effie is great. He gets it. He's an entertainer. So you know, he pops me in the match sometimes. I'm just like, what are we doing? I feel like I'm missing so many, but I had one. Actually, I'm here parked outside of the school at the 4. I had a match here with David Ali, and we had a last man standing, fans bring the camera match because we couldn't film it because we were at the building. It was a new building at the time, and we didn't have insurance for it. So to get around, being able to do it on the show and not get hurt and stuff, we said, well, we just won't film it. We'll just have the fans film it. And because of that, that took a lot of pressure off of me. And I was like, you know what? Let's just have fun. Let's not call anything. We got the finish. We got the story. We got the rivalry. Let's just have fun. I thought, David, I love you to death, but I thought it was going to be a disaster. I was like, if it is a disaster, nobody will see it because we're not filming it. It's the fans bring the weapons. We're fine. It ended up being one of my most fun matches of all time.
Wow.
Of all time. I'm so pissed we didn't get it up there. I was so mad. I was like,
no clips, no fan clips or anything.
I mean, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I wouldn't be able to like give you a link or give you, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, Mac, one that I'm glad we did get on camera and on tape was you and Ali in your very first title defense for the IWTV Championship at Southern Honor. And we were so privileged to be able to call that match. And that was just, it was so special on multiple levels. The main one being, and I think I can speak for these guys as well, is that it was you and David, 2 guys that all of us are very close to, 2 guys that we have come through SHW with since the beginning. And it was for a world title, you know, two kids from the WWA 4 that came up together, and, you know, several years later, here they are fighting for a world title. And I'm glad we got that one on tape for sure.
Not only that, but even more levels. So he and I started training the very same day, February 8th. And the defense was like right around that time. It might have been a week or 2 after that. So it was kind of like our anniversary.
Yeah.
So it was on so many different levels. Give me just a second,
Rico.
y'all.
I see him.
We got a cameo.
Hey, Rico.
What's up, Rico?
What's going on? I hear like 20 people, but I only see one.
Oh yeah, it like rotates.
Oh, there we go.
Man.
Yeah.
What's up?
Good to see you, man.
What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
Yeah.
We're live. We'll do it live.
Yeah.
See you, man.
You never know. It's just like SHW, just like at our shows, just like the podcast. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to show up.
Lord, love that guy.
Goodness.
That guy. All right, I have a question. So going back to, I know 2016 you started. You were a theater kid, I did not know that. So I'm learning even more. I'm not surprised by it by no means, but who was your wrestling influence? What made you want to be a wrestler? And when did it just, you know what, this is what I want to do? When did that happen?
So my wrestling influence, I would have to say, is The Rock. The Rock is my favorite of all time. Influence, I'll just say him for both, actually. Influence and wrestling influence. The Rock, favorite of all time. And honestly, the moment that I was like, okay, this is what I want to do was WrestleMania 22 in 2006. I was in middle school. Me and my friends, we would all get together every month and watch the pay-per-view.
Right.
For WrestleMania, we got there super early. And we went out to the playground, and it had like a square, like jungle gym kind of like.
Yeah.
And we just went out there and we pretended like we were our favorite wrestlers. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was called backyard wrestling. Like, that's what we were doing out there, hurting each other and making so much noise. And the noise brought people in that subdivision out, and they were watching us. I thought we were going to get in trouble, but it turns out they were enjoying this makeshift show that we were putting on. And I just remember like doing something and them reacting to it and me going, oh, they like that. Well, do they like this? Oh, let me try this. Oh, they like this. So it was kind of like a testing ground, or I don't know, like the first kind of preliminary, whatever you want to call it, of just like, oh, okay, that's how this works. Oh, and I just remember never wanting to stop. Wow. And I remember going home and like Googling how to become a wrestler or what do wrestlers make, and just to see the fact that they get to travel the world, and WWE wrestlers at least were making X amount of dollars. And I was like, and they get to have fun like this. Oh, this is a no-brainer. This is what I want to do.
So the performance side of it.
Right. And that was from the seventh grade for me. So from then on, I was telling everybody like, hey, this is cool. I know I'm making good grades, but this is what I want to do. Like, I want to wrestle.
Yeah. Oh God,
that's
so
crazy.
Cool.
That's wild.
So cool.
I love the backyard stuff.
Yes.
I grew up doing the same thing with my brothers and throwing each other off the trampoline, and just
it helps. It's crazy as it sounds. It helps.
It does.
It totally does. I want to go back to the theater piece for a second, because I think people, miss that part, but I think it's such an important part. Talk to me about your interest in theater. And what was, say, your favorite production? Were you an actor? Were you doing stage design? Were you doing, were you in the pit, in the band? Like, what was the way that went? And what was your favorite production? What's your favorite production?
So my favorite production was way before I even understood that I was in theater. Way before I took classes. I was in the 5th grade, and we did a Christmas play where Santa Claus, myself, lost weight. And so he was wearing this Santa suit, but he didn't have the big pillow in the front. Yeah. And so he was feeling himself so much that we did like a random fashion show in the middle of the play, to where Santa was showing off his new body, and like I was showing legs, and it was hilarious. And I think still to this day, I've had some good ones, but I think I had the most fun playing Santa Claus in the 5th grade, showing the weight I lost. I don't remember the big plot. I remember one of my best friends at the time, Aaron Clemens. He was one of the elves. Yeah. And he was like helping me with the fashion show. It was just fun, man. God, it was so much fun. That was my favorite.
That's brilliant. That's actually really brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with it or why, but I thank them.
How did we not have a Christmas show at SHW and have Mack dress up as Santa Claus? Why did that not happen?
Hey, so Christmas is coming around again. He can just make a cameo appearance.
I will show up and pass out presents.
I'm gonna write this down. Hang on. Ideas for December show.
Yes. That's right. Mack is Santa Claus.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome. So
but you got to come out dressed up and then come to the ring and be like the whole
full fashion
introduction.
Yes.
Because who did we have? We had Matt Lana did it with Buff Bagwell.
Right.
It was Matt Sells this past December. But I'm telling you, if it's Mack, we're talking about it on the show here, so maybe by December people will forget that we have talked about it.
6 months.
And it'll be a huge surprise when Mack comes out dressed as everybody. Wait a second, is that? I think that's it is. I love it.
Saint Mack. Yeah.
Saint Mack.
Saint Mack. I like it. I like it.
So that was my favorite. But I didn't start like theater classes till about high school.
Okay.
And we just kind of hit the ground running from there. I didn't do it because of wrestling. Okay. It was just something that kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, oh, I like this. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep going.
I was gonna say, like, will this be something now that you got a little more free time? Will that be something that you will go back and pursue, perhaps?
I'm not against it. I'm still, as of right now, my main focus is getting certified to officiate. Yeah. But I mean, that's always in my back pocket. That's something that you have to, in my opinion, you have to put 100% of yourself into, just like wrestling. Right. And it's something that I enjoy doing, but it's not something that I would be able to put 100% of everything into right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I can do like some extra things here and there, but that's not anything that's going to change the world, you know? So it's just, and until I can put my all into it, the answer right now is no.
Gotcha. Well, hey, you kind of just sort of slightly touched on it there, and I didn't know if we were allowed to get to what your plans are for the future. Are you allowed to kind of elaborate on that and let people know maybe what you're looking to do?
Yeah. So as of right now, it's just a plan. I haven't done anything. I haven't taken any classes. I've just kind of reached out to some folks and set some things up. I do plan on flying out to Vegas at the end of July.
Okay.
They're having a big MMA conference out there, and I plan on going to the official classes, the training for the referee classes. I'm trying to get certified to officiate MMA fights.
Wow.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Has that been something that you've always in the back of your mind wanting to do, or did this just kind of come about?
So I've always been interested in combat. Why? I don't know. But whether it's wrestling, before that it was the Power Rangers, the Mortal Kombat, the video games, I've always been intrigued by people fighting, right? I've always been a fan of MMA, always been a fan of UFC, but that's real. So I just never in my mind thought I would be doing anything affiliated with that.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed it. I've always watched the show. And honestly, I kid you not, I'm not just saying that because we're here, but going to Elevate at the Action Building and that being my first MMA show live.
Yeah.
And seeing how that crowd goes, seeing how
they
perform under the lights. Yeah. How different it is, how similar it is.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the referees and I was like, man, this is a way to still be under the lights, but not have that pressure, not have the worry of if I'm getting injured or hurt.
Right.
Now you have some mistakes, sure.
Right.
But it was a way to kind of take a step back. Well, actually, no, not even take a step back. Just take a step to the right. You shift over. It's like a lateral kind of. I'm not in there fighting.
Yeah.
Right.
But
you might have to break it up, but
I'll have to break it up. I'll probably have to take a few punches or two. I'm prepared for that. Wrestling has prepared me for that because not all those punches were pulled. So
there it is. There it is. I need people to understand that.
Okay.
Yes, not all those punches were pulled.
Woo! Who's in there? Who's in there throwing potatoes at you? That's what I'm. No, I'm just kidding. No names.
Some of them were friends.
Wow.
There's a saying in pro wrestling: you hit your friends the hardest.
We say that about brothers, like brother tag teams, that they are face each other. We say that all the time on commentary, don't we, GB? That they go at each other the hardest.
Yeah,
they really do. I don't know why. Yes.
Holy crap.
100%. Man, I don't know why that is, but yeah. So that's what's next for me. Yeah,
I love that, man, and the best of luck to you for that. I can't wait to see how it all turns out. But a quick question for you: I know, coming up through WWA 4, like Rico, for instance, we just saw a quick cameo of Rico on the show here. Now he is wrestling now, but he also was doing some reffing as well. You kind of in his early days, right? And I know some other wrestlers have refereed in pro wrestling in their early days of training to become a wrestler. Have you ever had any experience reffing in wrestling matches?
When I tell you we had to pay our dues at the 4, I have done it all.
Okay.
That's what I saw a picture of you and David in ref shirts.
Yes, I've been a referee. I've been a commentator. I've been an announcer. I've been a backstage correspondent. I've been the bell, the timekeeper, the bell. Before you debut in the show, you have to pay your dues. You have to serve the show in some kind of capacity. Yeah. And Fox, and these are his words, not mine. I'm not bragging, but he was like, man, I got a guy that can do everything. Let me get as much out of him before he debuts in the show. And so that's how that happened. And that's where the Mack of All Trades nickname came from, because
sweet.
We were just at the school and it was like, yo, you need a commentator? Somebody didn't show up? Okay, bet. The ring announcers, they're having problems or they're sick. Okay, I got you. Wow. You need a quick interview in the back? Boom, I got you. and it wasn't work for me because we were having fun.
Yeah.
They're calling it pay your dues, but man, we love this show. I'm still here at this show. I'm here right now.
Wow.
Preparing for this show. So like, it's home. I've been coming here as a fan since 2008 when I found out about this place, but way before I even made any type of move to get here as a student. I was a fan. So it meant the world to me to be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah. And
so what are you doing tonight?
Reft.
Well, I knew you got that,
but I have reft. Yes.
Well, the thing that's so great is like I knew you've got that personality. So when you mentioned doing some commentary, I was like, well, he's perfect on commentary. I posted this on announcing. Yeah, I posted this on Facebook a week or two ago. Whenever it was after the last show, and I mentioned that one of my favorite memories with you was at the first Rumble Jack. You were the champ at the time, so you weren't in the match. Instead, you joined us on commentary, and this was before GB and Diana got there. And there was a guy named Adam that was with me on commentary, and it was the best night ever because you just kept giving him grief the whole match for like an hour, and it was hilarious. Oh, I loved it. I think I even said on the show, I was like, "Hey, can you join us every show? This is great." Anyways,
that was a lot of fun. I enjoy commentary too. So there have been, I think OWA up in Ohio, they've asked me. They said, "Well, if we continue to book Rico, can you come up with him and just do commentary or something?" I'm like, yes, please.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, cool. I'll do that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good.
So
well, let us know where we can see those shows because that'd be awesome. I want to check that
out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, man.
Oh my gosh. So let me ask you this. Getting to SHW, obviously you've been with SHW since its inception. What are, say, your 3 favorite moments in SHW?
Oh man,
I know that's tough. I was like, oh,
you've been a part of a lot of them.
I'm glad GB asked because I had that on my tongue.
Oh man, definitely winning the SHW title. Losing to Raven in like what 5 seconds. So he like whacked me with the
here's the thing, Mac, real quick, there's been a couple of times throughout the course of the history of SHW where GB will say, is that the quickest match in SHW history? And I always have to kind of like hesitate because technically I think back to the very first show when Mac, you got clocked by the cane, the kendo stick.
That was the first show.
It was because you lost twice on the first show.
It was later. Yeah.
Wow.
You lost the very first match at the very first show, and then like later you came out to complain about it, and you're like, then Raven comes out, and here's what's crazy is he clocked you with the kendo stick, laid you out, and then they rang the bell, and then all he did was pin you in 1, 2, 3, and then ring it. So it was 3 seconds. That was it.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't know who's officially keeping the record book, but I guess it's official. I don't know. Oh, it's great. Raven of all people.
That was one, and then we had a War Games at Still Here. I forgot which year, but man, we were out there struggling. It was 4-on-4. I was a champ. That was when I lost the belt when Cruel won.
I remember that.
Is that when he put Corey through the ring?
Yeah, that's when he put Corey through the ring. And because of that, a lot of us tried to stay in the other ring a whole lot more. Right. And everything was stiff. God, that ring was stiff. It's so weird how science works. How you put a cage around 2 rings and they become more stiff. We were so over it. Corey was like, hey, take this chokeslam or take this. I'm like, why me? It's like 7 other people in this match.
Right.
This ring hurts so much.
Well, so since you brought that up, and this is a little inside baseball, and normally I wouldn't go this far, but the thing is, Corey initially, I believe, took a chokeslam from that corner down to that spot, and it didn't give like it was supposed to, so they had to think on the fly, and then I think he ended up maybe power bombing or something to eventually get him to go through.
Yeah.
Because initially it happened, and I remember sitting there going, "Uh-oh, he's gonna have to do it again."
It just wouldn't have happened. It just wouldn't have happened. It would have been like, no, that spot just wouldn't have happened. Yeah. Done that twice.
But it was funny because the whole crowd was like getting irritated because everybody was avoiding that ring.
Yeah,
and they were like,
I was in the audience for that. It was hilarious. We were screaming, "Use the other ring!"
Right. Oh, that's right. Because that's when I first met GB. He was in the crowd, and that's
wow.
Yeah, he was there with
It all came around.
Isn't it crazy how it all works out?
I wish I would have been in that ring and heard those conversations. You have not thought we were friends. And
yes.
That was a rough night. Look, in hindsight, it was one of the best moments. It's hilarious. But in the thick of it, nah. Nah, that was not okay.
Wow.
I tell you, one of the biggest swerves. Now, you mentioned the night you won the title from Allen Angels. That was the Canton Street fight, and that was like a rematch from a month or two prior. Right. But that same night, technically, what helped you win the title was you swerving everybody and joining the New Era.
Yeah.
And basically kicking Allen Angels out of the New Era. That was one of the biggest, because we always kind of pride ourselves at SHW in like how great the stories are, the ongoing storylines and all that. And so the New Era, that first year of SHW, was a really big story point throughout the early months of the company. And so that was very cool to be able to see that, that you were part of that as well.
Mm-hmm. It was one of my favorite moments because, again, that's why I fell in love with wrestling. I love story. I love drama. I'm an Attitude Era kid. That's when I came in the game. Like I said, The Rock is my favorite. So at the time, I know nobody likes it, but at the time, the Invasion storyline was everything to me. And like there was so many twists and turns, and you didn't know who was with who. And so I took a lot of inspiration from that, just because like it was nostalgic. It's why I fell in love with it. So I was all for it. I was like, this is perfect.
Wow. Your run as the IWTV World Champion literally took you everywhere, which is amazing. And we just had such great pride when you won that title, taking it everywhere. It was like, yes, our guy. It was amazing. So you've obviously run across a lot of people, been on a lot of different promotions. Tell me 3 people you've encountered that you think would be amazing in an SHW ring.
Ooh. Oh, shit. Alec Price. Alec Price.
Okay.
He's one of the biggest names on the independent scene right now. I love Cruel to Death, but if it were up to me, I would have lost the belt to Alec Price.
Wow.
I think what that man can do in the ring, I don't think the Southern Honor crowd is ready. I don't think. Yeah, I think they're gonna be pleasantly surprised.
Wow.
With the energy that he brings, the creativity. Who else? Myron Reed. Who else?
Young Goat.
Masha Slamovich.
Yes.
Listen,
oh my gosh.
They brought her down, and I had a match with her.
Wow.
And I should have said this earlier. It escaped me, but that was one of my favorite matches too. When I tell you she was slinging me around, she's really small, but she's so tough. She's like a Tasmanian devil. She's just in your face and just like 06 Kurt Angle. I'll say the appropriate way to say it. 06
yes. Yeah.
She's really good. She can work any style, whatever kind of wrestler you are. She'll meet you where you're at, and she'll have fun with it. And the character's great. She's like this evil Russian, and like, what's more old school than an evil Russian, you know? So
exactly.
It works. Oh, I want her to be everywhere. I was so happy when she won the GCW championship. She's over at Impact. My boy Angel's got us comp tickets for tomorrow and Saturday, so I'm gonna go see her.
Yes.
So yeah, I definitely Masha Slamovich. Mike Bailey. Oh my gosh. Who else? It's so many.
Wow.
It's so many. Those are the ones that's coming to my mind right now, but it's so many more.
What about, you talked about the IWTV title. What about traveling around? Were you able to go places you've never been before to defend the title? Anything like that?
Yes. I was able to go to Seattle and wrestle. I've never been to Seattle before. Like, what?
Wow. Yeah.
My family, I hate to make this about race, but my family was like, you sure? What are we doing? We're very cautious people. So they were like, where are you going? Seattle, LA. I had never been before Mania this year. I had never been to LA before. So where else? My mind is blanking, but promotions I had never worked for before as well. Running the storyline with Beyond, and to have grown adult wrestlers hit me up and be like, yo, is this real? I was like, we won.
Yes.
We did.
Yes. Speaking of that, on that point, when you won the IWTV title, to be there that night, and of course you guys saw it, everybody saw it live on pay-per-view, but just to be there that night and that promo you gave, man, you're talking about. And the other night too, like at SHW, I'm doing my best to hold it together and not break down in the ring. But I was the same thing. It was the same way when you won the title, and it was at the Action show, not the Action building, but the Action show, and you won the IWTV Championship. And you gave that promo, man, and just like the pride, like GB mentioned earlier, the pride for us because we're friends with you was just so, man, you made everybody's day that day. It was just awesome.
That was a peak moment in my career, to have family and friends in that building in my hometown win an official world championship against somebody I watched growing up. Right. And on top of that, me and Rico making our relationship official right there in the ring, declaring war against the North. There were just so many pieces that came together for that one moment. And I was like, man, that's the peak of it right there. I don't want to ruin the legacy. I don't want to like that's
Wow.
God, it was so good.
It was so.
Me and GB were
man.
at home watching like on TV. We were texting each other. It's like, oh my god, oh my god, he won. And then Brandon to be there, it was just like, oh my gosh, it was one of the best moments.
Yes, that gave me a few bullet points, and I was so nervous about the match itself. And Alex Shelley, who I love to death, but he was all over the place, and I was like, please, can we hunker down so I can start like getting focused? It was a wild night. Wow. But we got through the match. It was great. He was talking to me the whole time, and I remember laying down in tears, my face in the mat, and I'm like, oh, it's over. It's over. It's over. And I look up, and Scott Hensley's like trying to hand me the mic, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot.
you gotta talk. I
was like, dang it.
You crushed it, man. I was thinking that. I was like, I don't know how you were able to just think straight and do what you did, but you absolutely crushed it. It was awesome.
Turned on that drama side, yeah.
It was the drama side. It was the moment, and it was the, when people ask me, was it real? Like, it halfway was, because, a lot of that was the truth. A lot, it was like hip hop in the 90s. Like, the South has been booming for so long, and nobody's like acknowledging it. It was It was frustrating, and I think that real emotion kind of carried over and helped me get through the promo, because even when I didn't know what I was gonna say, that emotion was there. Yeah, I knew how I felt, so I think that's what like helped, to be honest.
Yeah. Wow.
Killed
it. It's so interesting because as I'm thinking about it, we talked about a lot. We talked a lot about how so many things had changed. And one of the things even that has changed has been kind of the rise again of the South in terms of independent wrestling. There was this period where it was real quiet, and all of a sudden it just went like boom. It's powder keg. You know what I mean? Like it was really fast. And I mean, even the pandemic, where it seemed to have slowed a lot of other people down, it didn't slow down the rise of the South at all. Let me ask this question. Having now been around the country as the IWTV World Champion, in 2023, do you feel as though the South has the kind of respect it should have in comparison to other regions in this country relative to pro wrestling?
I think it's better.
Okay.
But I do think we still have a ways to go. And which excites me, because the next guy after me, the next AC Mack, or the next, person from the South who has that same fire and that same frustration, I'm looking to see what they can do even better, how they can top me with it, and like bring it even more into the forefront. I think it's gotten there. It's okay. We got the #1 independent promotion, GCW, running shows in the South now.
Right.
not saying that's directly because of me, but because everybody stood up at the same time down here, I think people were like, oh, okay. And I think it helped a little bit, but we still got a ways to go. And I'm excited for not only us getting there, but just the journey. I'm excited to see how we get there. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one question.
yes.
7 years, right? 7-year career, I guess you'd call it. Do you have any regrets at all? Anything that you've ever done in the 7 years, or is there anything you would have done differently or that you wish would have gone a certain way?
So the cliche answer to that is no. But if I'm being completely honest with you, I do have a regret. There is something that I would change. Being around my peers and seeing people who were able to make a difference on a larger scale, I see the difference. I see what it took, and it was the will to work hard, to work 3 and 4 times as hard and commit your entire life to this, to where like this dream becomes real. These people are getting signed, they're on TV, they're doing amazing things, to the point where I didn't think that was feasible. We're having fun, I'm chasing my dreams, but in the back of your head, you're really like, I don't know. So to see those things happen tangibly for them, it was like, oh shit, this is real. I think, and I hate talking about myself like this, I hate bragging, but I think had I committed my life more, had I worked even harder, I think I would be a lot further. I'm not saying it's the be all end all. I'm not saying it's the measurement of success, but I know what I'm capable of. And I feel like if I pushed myself harder, I would be on a grander stage. I would be somewhere where the exposure was greater. I'm not bitter. I'm not upset. I'm very proud of what I've done. But I if I had to change anything, sometimes I look back and I'm like, damn, right, you could have pushed harder. And the charisma that you have, the character that you bring, I can see that on TV. I can see that fitting in well with the performers and the wrestlers. And
yes.
So that's my regret. I know that's not the cool thing to say, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Yeah, I don't blame anybody because I've seen what it takes. I know what it takes, and I made the conscious decision that I didn't want this to take over my life. But if I had to change anything, it would be that. If that makes sense. I feel like I'm rambling,
no, complete sense. So with that being said, do you think maybe in the future we could have another AC run at this, just to, you cool your jets, you do your thing.
Let me just chime in real quick. Let me just chime in real quick and say that when we bring him back as Santa Claus in December and he gets that little taste again, maybe.
I don't foresee that happening, but I know it's professional wrestling. I know it's never say never. I love my man dearly, and he still wrestles, and he's still going to continue wrestling. So I'm obviously going to be around, and I'm supporting him, and I want to go to as many shows with him as possible. So that itch is going to come. I know that for sure. But I don't have the desire to, like I said,
right now. Right now, because in my opinion, we ain't done. But I understand. Right now, you don't have
Mack,
you got things you want to do.
Mack, you heard the lady, okay? So that's the deal. That's the deal. We'll give you a little time off, and we'll see you. No,
everybody's saying that. Even my mom is like, we'll go and watch a speech, but you're not done. I'm like, yeah, Mom.
No, I fully respect your decision, and I back you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I do still love it. I do still love it, and that's my regret. I feel like if I gave it 110%,
Yeah.
not only do I already think that I'm further than where I would have gone, but I think the sky's the limit had I really put my all into it. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, what I do know. Oh, go ahead, GB.
I was gonna say there's so much about that intrigues me, and it's got my journalistic brain going in a lot of places. And one of the reasons is, and I'd love for you to dig into this some more, because usually in pro wrestling you have a lot of different people whose interests are all over the place, right? Some are all the way in. Some are just, okay, maybe I can, I don't know. And some are like, I'm gonna do this a year and I'm good, right? I think it's so powerful for you to be able to say, I wasn't willing to give it my life.
Right.
Why do you think that was?
Oh,
there you are. You back?
Yeah. Okay. It froze on me too, so I was like, "Oh,
gotcha." All right. So, so the question I was asking was, you came to the realization where you said, I don't think I'm willing to give this my life to make that kind of push. Yeah. What was it in you that made you say, I'm not willing to do that? I'll start there. Then I have a second question, but we'll start there.
Well, honestly, it was a few things.
Okay.
There's a slew of negativity within the industry. The politics. I read Daniel Bryan's book. It was a beautiful book. And at the end of it, he says he always gets asked, was it worth it? Missing everything, your family, your friends, the birthdays, the big life events. Was it worth it? And he just flat out said no.
Wow.
He said that was his answer. I kid you not. I don't remember the name of the book, but he released it right after he won the title in 2014, the main title. He said, no, it's not worth it. And a lot of my friends who have made it to the promised land, they are miserable.
Wow.
They are miserable. And that was some of the main things. And then, I don't know, just the deeper you get, the more successful you get. I'm like, this is great. I'm having fun. It's going to sound so bad. I'm having fun, but like, now you're here. You're close to those tryouts, that signing on the dotted line. You're close. You know what it takes because you're right there. And you know what you need to do to cross that threshold. And you're looking at that grass and you're like, man, I don't know if that's greener. I don't know if the steroid lifestyle, it's a lot of things that you think don't go on in wrestling anymore that do still go on. And some of it's scary. Some of it, I don't know. It's just like never meeting your heroes, I guess. That kind of mentality. I hate to say that because I do love wrestling. I really do. Yeah. But I don't know. And then on top of all that, the pressure and the anxiety and just you loving it so much, so you care about it and you want everything you do to be great. So you become this perfectionist, and then it's just like a rabbit hole of of so many things, and you just want to be able to let go. And you know that if you cross that threshold, it's only gonna get worse. The demand is only gonna get higher. The workload is only gonna get greater. Your creativity, your freedom is only gonna get lower. I kind of had to force myself to have an out-of-body experience and say, Rob, will you enjoy this?
Right.
If this gets bigger, if more people know you, if you're traveling 100%, if all this, if your dreams come true, will you be happy? And then I sat on it and I was like, I really don't think that answer is yes.
Yeah.
And then that's when I told Rico, it was a few months ago, I was like, I got to pull the trigger. Because I can't think of a better time to do it when I'm on top at 25 in the PWI and all this stuff. And just, if that joy isn't there, if that desire isn't there, then what are we doing? You know?
Right.
So
yeah.
it sounds so bad, and I hate that, but it's the
No,
truth.
because you got the spotlight, you got what everybody sees, what everybody thinks wrestling is,
Yeah.
and what
You're
this is
there,
what
you see
they
it, you're
watch
like,
it.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you grow up watching on TV, you say, "Oh, I want to do this. I want to be The Rock or whatever." But the stuff behind the scenes and the ugly part and the hardness and
Yeah.
just the loneliness, all that stuff.
The loneliness.
Nobody
I didn't even
sees
get
that
to the
part.
pain in in
Right.
your
Right.
body and stuff.
Right.
I didn't even get to that part.
Right.
Tearing it up and not lasting very long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand that
So
completely.
GB, you said you had one more question. You want to hit that real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I wasn't sure if maybe he already answered it or not.
No. I'll start by saying that I hope that as people are watching this, one of the things that you're learning is to be true to yourself.
Yes.
Which is what I think you've done, Mac, is you said, hey, I could get this and all the fans would love it and everybody else would love it, but I wouldn't love it.
Yeah.
And you were able to be true enough to yourself to say, you know what? This isn't it. And so there's a lot to be said for that. With that said, if you get to write the story that says these are the only terms with which I will return to this sport, what would those terms be?
Diana has to be my announcer every time. GB and Brandon have to be my
the package deal.
That's right.
You know what I would do? I would Pat McAfee.
Oh, he's awesome.
I think he has the perfect job.
Yes.
He is a commentator. He's a host of some sorts.
Yes.
And when they need him to, he'll wrestle.
Yes.
And when he does, he knocks it out of the park. I'm not talking technically, he's not the most technical, but as far as a story goes, he can get it over, he can talk, he can get whatever babyface you need over.
Yeah.
I would love that role to where I start out as a host or something. We go heel, they get mad at me, and we end up with a match at WrestleMania, either with Austin Theory or Brock Lesnar. That's the only way.
It's right there. AC McAfee.
McAfee roll into a match with either Theory or Lesnar, and I promise you I'm done. And Kanye West got to play me out too.
Oh yes. Yes. I love that.
We're going to miss hearing your entrance music at SHW. We're going to miss seeing you at SHW.
I know.
And I know we got to wind down here because you got to run. You're outside the school right now, about to go in.
Yeah, so show starts at 8. We about to be live.
I hear you.
We'll
let you go here, but I do want to just again thank you from the bottom of our hearts, man, for the past 5 years that we've gotten to become close with you at SHW and all the fun memories and everything you've done. And man, we love you, and we're gonna miss you.
So sad.
And come back.
I've done
anytime.
good. I have not cried yet. Do not make me cry.
I'm sorry.
Do not.
I'm sorry, but I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate Southern Honor giving me a platform. I appreciate them always showing me love, whether I was a heel or a face. I appreciate y'all for letting me come on this platform and like be real. You know, nobody ever talks about this side of chasing your dreams. So I hope somebody sees this and can relate to it and doesn't feel guilty for thinking they are alone or something. I don't know, but we don't get anywhere if we're lying. So I just wanted to put it all out there, and I hope this helps. I hope people can understand the decision more now.
Yeah. Well, we are appreciative, man. We are grateful to have had a part in your journey. You are,
thank you.
Without question, one of the brightest souls in this business.
Yes.
And I think in a business,
now I'm
I'm serious. You know, they talk about how, you know, you can make money or you can make friends and that type of stuff. But one of the other challenges is, you know, everybody in this business aren't nice people.
That's right.
Yeah.
They aren't good people. You know, people are willing to kind of cut corners and cut throats and cut whatever to get where they want to get. And so to see you always be the same, always be kind, always be considerate, always be yourself, you know, be authentic. those are the things that make us miss you most, because people can be great in the ring, but horrible people. And we know some of them. And so I'm grateful that you are not one of them. And so thank you for the impact that you've made on all of us. And thankfully, we can still all stay connected, and we are certainly supporting you in the next chapter for sure.
Thank you so much. I'll be around.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely. Well, once again, Mack, thank you.
I love you.
Can't say it enough.
I
We
love you guys
absolutely
too. Thank you so much.
love you from the bottom of our hearts. And that's going to do it for this episode. And until next time, this has been
SHW.
This is the Mack Show. That's
There
what it's
you
going to be
go.
today. We're the Mack Show. That's who we are.
We love you, Mack.
Right. That's right.
We love you, brother.
Love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you. We appreciate you, man.